good afternoon to everyone over here. We are all gathered here on the occasion of the International Women's Day, and we wanted to celebrate this in a very different manner. We have with us a couple of our patients who have been very, very dear to us, who have been a part of our journey through the journey of infertility, through this journey of treating patients who have had this kind of a problem. And I think it was just appropriate to call everyone together today to discuss what it has been to go through this entire process of having a child, assisted or not assisted, normal or whatever way they were wanting to have a child. But reproduction, as you know, is a wonderful thing, and it is a part of anybody's life. So therefore, I have with me here today my patients, my dear patients, Mr. Vrinda, he is here right next to us, and his wife is Dr Mishra. They have been with me for the last 3 years. Then I have Sangeeta with me here. This great lady has been with me for the last 16 years. Amazing companionship, amazing friendship we've developed over the years. And then here is Vrinda, a wonderful young girl. Today's the representing modern India. This is Vrinda here. She's a financial wizard. And then I have Neha. Neha is a professor in a college, again representing modern India. And now we need to understand what are their thoughts about reproduction and what they have actually done to achieve what they have. So I'm going to ask them a couple of questions instead of they asking me, because every time we meet in a consultant chamber, it's the patient who asks the doctor. And today it's my turn to ask them how they have felt when they have gone through this journey of reproduction. So my first question would of course be to the senior most, that is Sangeeta. She's been with us for the last so many years, and she came to me when she was 38 and she was wanting to have a child. Sangeeta had been flying as an air hostess, and then she decided to have a child, and then she came over. So here's to Sangeeta, who's a great achiever. We shall talk about it as we go through it on and on. So Sangeeta, what would you want to say when you first decided to have a child at 38?
I wanted to be with the right doctor. So I researched and found out in those days internet was not that easy to access, but I found out that Dr. Sonia Malik was the one who would help me aid my process of pregnancy. And when I got pregnant, I went to her, and my journey from day one till I delivered my baby boy has been one of excitement. I never once thought that I'm an older person, and she never made me feel like that. She would say, take precautions and be like this. And I was working, so it was just easy for me to be active all the time. And my consultations with her were very, very energizing, and I have, with her help, delivered a boy that I'm very proud of today. And it's just been amazing being with her. And now, post my child, I have still maintained contact with her. Every other occasion I try and meet her, and here on Women's Day, what more to celebrate than be with her.
So then Sangeeta, thank you so much, and of course we've been meeting off and on like she said, and we've always gone back to her. The most amazing part about her personality is that Sangeeta, after she's finished with her family, she probably wanted to have another child, but then she decided against it because she was already 38. And, am I right?
That's right.
And then after that, what could you imagine she's been doing? She's been climbing mountains at age 50. So look at the determination of this woman who climbed the Everest at age 50, from 38 to that time, rearing a child, and then once the child is good enough, old enough to take care of himself, she decided again to do something which she was very fond of probably earlier and she didn't realize. So can we have something about your climbing part? That shows your personality again as a determined woman. Today we are talking about women on Women's Day.
My mountaineering pursuits actually happened just by fluke. You would say I was never a person who went to the gym, but very, very, very active. So my husband, who's a ex-Doon school boy, he once asked me that I'm turning 50 and I was nearly 47 at the time, and he said, I want to go and climb this mountain Kilimanjaro. I was very good in geography and this is on my bucket list. And would you like to come? And for me, I've been always taking challenges, and I said, okay, let's go. Kya karna hoga? And he said, we'll have to train, we'll get cardio fit, and the journey began. So I submitted when I was nearly 47 with a bit of training, and ever since that time, the journey continued, and I decided to do the 7 continents of the world. So Everest was last year at 53, and as I sit here, I'm 54 now, a month back. So the real thing is, if you have passion in life, and I have always believed that nothing is impossible, and age is never a barrier to achieve anything. Whether having a baby at 38, well, this was my second baby, so that's why I'm sitting with the doctor now.
So that's what it is. I think that's what all this day is all about. It's about bringing balance into your life. It's talking about, what anybody as a woman can achieve anything if you have the determination and if you have the correct approach to what you would want to do. So that is what, assisted reproduction is also about. It is just the approach. So from Sangeeta, I move on now to the modern girl, Vrinda. Vrinda, I think it would be good if you talked about how you have approached reproduction, because yours is a very different concept, and I'm sure many people would be interested to know what your thought has been on reproduction since you're not married.
Thank you, Dr. Malik. I think my introduction to reproduction was also by fluke. A lot of my friends who were in the assisted reproduction process had been to Dr. Malik, and they had been great examples of them having delivered babies at later ages. And it just got me thinking, since I have been working and I'm not married at the process at this point of time, and everybody telling me that the biological clock is ticking, it's always been at the back of my mind if there was an opportunity. And today, in this day and age, you keep hearing of examples of people having children with assisted means, etc. And I somehow, of probably all the investments I would have made till now, I think probably banking my eggs has been one of the safest investments, I'd say. It's been a great experience. I think a little difficult for a single woman to sort of go through, but I think once you get over the initial inhibitions, with friends and families, etc., supporting you, it's a relatively easy process, and I don't understand why. With increasing
How did you hear about it? How did you think of banking your eggs?
I think it's just social media, friends who've been through it, friends who had encouraged me to do that.
Would you encourage other girls as well? Would you want your friends to do it?
I'd say the moment you cross 30, whether or not you're pursuing. People are pursuing academics till later ages. Doctors, for example, end up studying for such a long time. I think it's a great idea. I'd encourage everybody who's single, let's say beyond the age of 30, it's a great time.
Why do you say this word 30 again and again? This age. We are getting patients who are coming to us at a later age. Do you think it's a good idea to preserve eggs at 38? Like, suppose she wanted to come and do that at her age. Would it have been a good idea?
So
from your perspective.
So from my perspective, I think I realized it a bit too late at 36. I think you're probably advised that there are various factors like egg reserve ratios, etc. Much better when you're younger, a little difficult when you're older, but still I think I was advised by friends, etc. that frankly any time between 30 to 40 is a great idea. I don't see any reason why one shouldn't contemplate it. I'd like to encourage as many people as possible to do it.
Yeah, so I think Vrinda has done a good job. She thought of it, and she's kind of reserved her future. So when we are talking of, again I come back to the same thing, balance for better balance. So this is kind of equalizing reproduction now. The men can produce at any age, but women have a limited span where they can reproduce. After a certain age, they cannot. And therefore, if you have your eggs banked or if you have your embryos banked, at least you're safe, you can have a child at any age. So that, having said that, the other second message that she's given to us just now is that there is a certain age for even banking your eggs. You can't think of banking your eggs when you're 40 or when you're 38 because it's too late. Probably the ovarian reserve has gone down and the quality of eggs that you're going to get and the number, right, Vrinda? So even the number is going to go down, the quality is going to go down, and out of those few eggs, it's probably, we don't know whether it is going to actually lead to a pregnancy or not. So that is a problem, a little bit of a problem, and therefore do it at the right time and do it properly so that you can at least be sure that you can have a child whenever you have to, or whenever you want. So having a child at will is something what the modern girl wants. And with that I come to Neha. Neha, did you ever hear about this or did you think about this? Of course you're married and you're going through the process with us, but did you think or did you ever, did you know of this facility that you could bank your eggs when you were young, even younger? You're young even now.
Yes, absolutely.
Just a thought.
50s, yeah. But I never did heard of this. Never did I. My aunt had been given a girl child by you, and she suffered from uterus tuberculosis. And probably in the family, I had gone through the same thing. But at that point of time, she was 36, 38 when she delivered the baby. And since the ovarian reserve goes down as told by Dr. Malik, she never had many eggs, and that's the reason she never got many embryos, never got a chance to even freeze them. This is what she tells me now, that since I never got a chance, I couldn't freeze them, and she's crossed 40 now. And even when she thinks of having a baby now, she knows the limitations. But since I'm just 30 and I know I can go through this procedure, and for 5 years, I'm still a little fertile, I would like to say that. Not just me, but my husband also thinks that probably after having the first baby, and if we want to take some more time and having the other baby, we would like to preserve our eggs. And for now, we did the same thing. We have frozen the embryos for now, and it was a good decision indeed.
So Neha has got frozen embryos with us. That is another very, very good option. I think when we were going through assisted reproduction, of course, Sangeeta didn't need that. She's conceived spontaneously. But during her time, we never had this facility of freezing eggs and embryos. So think of it, if a woman has that kind of is in that kind of a situation, it might be a little difficult for her to conceive if she grows older and comes to a reproductive specialist. So therefore, time is a great factor, and I think Vrinda and Neha, being the younger generation of modern India, the true woman of India, they are thinking of their reproduction at a much younger age, as we used to say, now this is called balance. They are balancing their careers, they are doing what they want to, and yet they are thinking of reproduction. So Neha is a professor in a college, Vrinda is a financial wizard, so therefore she thinks of banking, and she's therefore banked her eggs probably, but then yes, this is a very, very good option. We come to the gentleman side of it now, and we have Mr. Mishra, Dr. Mishra with us. We all congratulate him today because he's just received his PhD degree this morning, and he has been with us in a very, very strange and interesting, I would say interesting, but very stressful journey. And he and his wife came to us about 3 years ago with a problem wherein
fibroids, multiple fibroids.
Multiple fibroids. So would you like to talk about it a little bit and tell them what you've gone through?
Actually, my wife was very worried about her illness, and it is the dream of every lady to become mother. And I was also worried, what can we do? So ultimately we thought of, we heard of Dr. Sonia Malik ji, we contacted her. So she operated my wife, removed all the fibroids, but again the situation was prevailing that she couldn't be mother. So that was the dream that was spoiled. So we thought of surrogacy. Dr. Malik advised us that we should go for the surrogacy. But surrogacy word is quite simple, but it has a lot of aspects, financial aspects, emotional aspects, family aspects. So at first we were astonished to hear the word surrogacy. But we thought, what is the problem if you are not, I mean to say my wife is not going to become a mother, but we should have a child. Either we can use any other mode of delivery. I don't know whether I should say Lord Balram, who was elder brother of Lord Krishna, he was also born using the technique of surrogacy.
That's right.
So I think if Balram was born, then why not we should have a baby through surrogacy. So we decided to opt this technique, and
was it your suggestion or what did the suggestion come? Well, it was my suggestion.
Yeah, of course.
But how did you take this? Was it very, very difficult for you to decide or for your wife to decide?
Actually, it was difficult for both of us because it was a new concept for us. Although we have heard in newspaper that so many celebrities have gone for the surrogacy, but for a common man, it styles in a different manner. But then we thought, at that time I was doing PhD, so I thought, what should we do? You cannot conceive any baby, so better we should go for the surrogacy, and I supported her fully in all respects. So when we decided that we will go for the surrogacy, that was the final decision. And we got a baby previous year. We have a baby girl, and we are very happy. And that credit goes to
all of us. It goes to the whole team.
Yeah.
In the team, I include you because basically, if it hadn't been for you, we would not.
Yeah, that's true.
So all of us together have done it. My question to you is that you have probably heard of the surrogacy bill, which is coming shortly.
Yeah.
As a patient, as a person who's gone through it, would you think that the changes that they are trying to make in the surrogacy bill are appropriate?
I think they are inappropriate because one change which I have heard that a surrogate mother should belong to family members. How it is possible? We are living in our Indian society, so we should frame bill as per the need of Indian society. That is the first perspective. Second, there will be many couples who might not be having any female relatives. What will happen to them? How could they opt this surrogacy? And third, this stringent part of relative, it should be removed. It is my suggestion because that is not appropriate. And of course, it is true. The government has brought, considering that there are so many weaker sections who are opting this process to birth and earn money. That part is quite okay. But at the same time, we should also consider about the fertility of those people, infertility of those people who are not having baby.
Yes.
So what should be the remedy? Remedy is best. This clause should be removed, or this restrict part should be removed from the bill, that it should be confined to the relative. Anybody. Of course, anybody should. But one amendment may be there. It should not be made commercial. That control may be imposed by the government of India. That is my suggestion.
You mean to say that it should be better regulated?
That is better regulated.
And you did find it expensive.
Yeah.
It is expensive. So everybody cannot afford it.
Yeah.
That is a big challenge.
Yeah.
But do you think that the surrogates are exploited?
I don't think, because my baby was born in Crown Mine Hospital. That is a very good hospital, and that is modern hospital. What technique they were using for the care of baby, even at present I am living in Ghaziabad, I have not come across with such type of facilities in hospitals in Ghaziabad. I am surprised. I told them a few tests which they were not aware. So that was very striking to me. So I think in my case, I don't find that any surrogate mother has been exploited.
So basically, okay. So Mr. Mishra has a different kind of a perspective for third-party reproduction. This is another aspect of assisted reproduction. To use a third party, we all are aware of it. We all are aware of surrogacy. We are all aware of donor eggs and donor sperms, and that is the option that many people adopt because they do not have their own. And yes, when it is absolutely essentially required, it is indeed a very good method of having a child like they've had. But of course, with surrogacy, we have its own problems which need to be rectified, which need to be regulated. Now, the other question is again, Sangeeta, if you were today 36 and you had all these options that we've just talked about, what appeals to you the best?
I think being a working person, and if I already had a baby and I wanted a second one, if the work did not permit, and in my case, if the mountains had happened also at that time, then I would probably freeze my eggs as well. Because I don't think age should be any limitation for you to shelve your dreams. I would have probably banked them as well, but it didn't happen that time. आपने मुझे पहले नहीं बताया.
हाँ, so मुझे भी नहीं था शायद पता था. No, well, yes, that is what is the wonderful beauty. That is the beauty of science. It is progressing so fast. It is progressing and it is evolving. So we can offer so much more than we could maybe 10 or 15 years ago. But the question is, the interesting part of Sangeeta's answer is that she still wants her own child. It's her own genetic child. So that is the most important message that we want to give to everyone, that there is a possibility of having your own genetic child. One should not be looking at third-party reproduction as an easy option because you can't have your own child. There are so many things available today which can allow you to have your own child at any given age. Therefore, with the advancement of reproductive medicine, with the advancement of assisted reproduction, we are just not talking about your own child at age 20 or 25. We are talking of having children at 35, 37, 38, 40. The upper limit should not exceed 45 because then many women do not have the capability of producing a healthy child or remain healthy after the childbirth because they are suffering from so many diseases like hypertension, diabetes, etc. themselves. They are not fit enough to have a child. People, of course, like these girls sitting next to me may be very fit, and of course even when Vrinda becomes 45, I'm sure she'll be able to bear a child because she keeps herself fit. But many are not like her, and therefore it is not advisable to have a child that late in your life. One should get married early, or if you're not getting married early and you are wanting to pursue your careers, you are not in a position to have your own child, the best method is to preserve the gametes. Whether it is eggs, whether it is embryos, whatever it is, but they should be preserved. And the other thing that I would like to ask Neha is, did you find this process of IVF very stressful?
I fear injections. I hate needles, and every day getting to have almost 2 injections. It's not painful. I won't say it's painful. But yes, indeed, a little stressful considering the want of a baby that my husband has. I really badly want to fulfill that. He's been very supportive, and ma'am is a very good counselor, I must say. Every moment I feel my spirits are going down, I do come up to her and tell her that, you know what, this is going to happen, and she tells me, no, don't worry, we're there for you. Stressful indeed it is because the time I wanted to have a baby, immediately then I couldn't have, and the thought of still holding the child in my hand is a dream till now. So, but I'm in good hands, and hopefully.
We all hope that your dreams are going to come true. The question is the question was, this is actually a myth. Many of the patients who come to us are very scared that IVF is a very painful process. So that's why I asked her, barring the injections which were painful, was anything else painful?
No, nothing at all.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
So it's not, and I think we'll have to take a couple of questions as they are coming in, since this is a live show. So may I know the questions?
Yeah, Purnima Saxena Wattle, she's said that a common dilemma among many patients is, what does repeated ovulation induction really reduce ovarian reserve?
Yes, that is a myth. actually, you see what happens in ovulation induction is that we are only trying to recruit the eggs which were not going to be recruited in a natural process. Out of the recruitable eggs, only one would have been recruited in a natural process, because every month there is only one egg forms and ovulates, or at the most two, because that's why some people get spontaneous twins. But what we are doing in ovulation induction is, we are, for that particular month, nature has a defined number of eggs which are recruited. So instead of just letting them go, we are just bringing them into the pool and trying to recruit them. Therefore, they are in any case going to go away if you are not going to use them. Hence, when you are using or recruiting them for ovulation induction, you are not depleting your reserve. You are just using something which was otherwise not going to be used. Anything else? Nothing else. Okay. So I think, can we take a couple of more questions or time to talk to each other? So what would be your message then to people who are wanting to come and do wanting to get into this kind of a process, normal IVF, third party IVF, anything, and they are scared, they don't want to go in for it? Or I can put it another way, would you want to go in for your second child the same way?
Why not? Probably, if circumstances are favorable for me.
Okay. So then your take or your message to people who are wanting to go into this kind of a process but they are scared to do it, what would your message to them be?
Actually, one should not be afraid of surrogacy. It is hard. I think many of my relatives and many of my nearers and nearers, they told me that what is the surrogacy. So public in our country, they are not very much aware of the surrogacy. Although they hear about the surrogate baby born in celebrities, but that doesn't work more. But in my opinion, one should go for the natural baby. That is the best. Second option is the IVF for the lady herself. But if both these are not possible, then one should go for the surrogacy. But one thing which I should request you, rather I should request all the doctors who are involved with this business, one financial aspect is associated with it. So try to get rid of that problem, so that those who are needy, those who are not in a position to get baby because of this financial crunches, they can get rid of that problem. And that is quite okay. One should go for the surrogate baby. And I have one baby girl.
Yes.
I am very happy. My family is very happy. We are having after 27 years of my marriage.
Wow,
After 27 years of marriage, we are having that baby. So I think neither I am young nor old. I am in between.
Yeah.
Even then we have gone for the.
How old was Rita when you got married? How old was she?
She was 18 years.
So she was 18 years old, and it took us such a long time to complete the journey. Yes.
I think one of the other issues also is very few people talk about it. Very few people talk about it openly, whether it is surrogacy or it's often a very late decision to go into and try IVF. It's often an extremely late decision, like in my case, for example, to contemplate reproduction. So I think a little bit of awareness around assisted reproduction, and I think it's moved out from the taboo zone now, and it's a lot more accepted, because I'd say every third or fourth colleague would probably be using some form of assisted reproduction. But I think talking about it, more forums like these, doctors coming out and talking about this, that is going to be extremely helpful, not only for us, but also for the younger generation and for the generations to come, because lives are just getting a lot more hectic day by day. So it's very important to keep this somewhere in the back of your mind, and besides and keep societal pressures, taboos, etc. aside. So more you talk about it, however possible. I'm not sure how the community can achieve it, but that's very important.
I'd like to add something that if you're going to be saving your eggs and keeping them, and you want to have a child much later, according to the age that you mentioned, one of the most crucial things is self-care for women and being fit, because the older you get, everything is sort of going down. And if you have to have a baby, the baby will take a lot of your energy, will take a lot of everything, your calcium, your mass, everything. So it's very, very important for women, I'm saying that on Women's Day especially
Yes,
because
absolutely,
it's your day,
absolutely.
is to have your intake of calcium after 40 regularly, your magnesium, your iron, have proper checkups, make sure that you have a test done for breast cancer. All those things, please don't take it for granted because your health is, you're the cornerstone of a family, and if you are healthy and happy, you're going to keep the cog of the wheel running.
That's an excellent message, Sangeeta. And I think to wind up, I would say that reproduction is a beautiful part of everyone's life, and it is essential, just as essential as it is to eat and drink and walk and smile and laugh. So therefore, one has to pay attention to this part of your life as well. And all my panelists, everyone has agreed that in order to achieve your own child, have your own child, you must take the right decisions at the right time. Doctors, of course, are there to help you. But first of all, you have to know how to help yourself. And just as Sangeeta said, your own fitness is very important. Dr. Vrinda also said the same thing. It's important. It took them a very, very long time to get to this position because of different problems. This girl has taken a wise decision. She's already done what was required, and Neha is actually going through it. These are some examples of patients who have actually done it. But then there are so many out there who are just thinking and not taking the first step in order to achieve what they want to. And as Vrinda rightly put in, that we need to have support groups. We need to have people talking about it. We need to have women coming forth and talking about it. And of course the men to support them. That is what brings the balance, and that is the right balance. That is what we need, that is what is required to have a happy family. And interestingly, he has a daughter. So therefore, in this country where having a daughter is a taboo, he is very happy as a father because he has a daughter. So therefore, the message in this forum today is talk about your problem, talk about what you're going through, make your friends talk to you about it, you talk to them about it. Neha was guided to us by her aunt who went through the same problem. So I'm sure there'll be so many people over there who will be willing to talk about it. But the most important thing, I think I'll have Sangeeta to promise me that, and Vrinda also to promise me that, to form a support group, to form a forum where you can make other women aware of this problem and tell them that we have such methods available where people or women can have whatever they want to achieve by any means, their own eggs, their own embryos, their own uteri, their own uteruses. So therefore, and of course their own sperms. Otherwise, it's not possible to have a child. And I thank all of them to be here with me today on this special day, on International Women's Day, and having such a wonderful panel with all of us. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here.
Thank you.
You've really, really
Thank you.
proven to be such
Thank
good
you.
people. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.